He was built to conquer. Forged in the furnaces of the Avelian war moons, his metal frame gleamed with cold starlight. His internal reactors pulsed with enough energy to tear open fortresses, his neural lattice filled with tactical data from 1,000 subjugated worlds. They called him Karzul, the Emperor's Fist, an unstoppable weapon designed to bring entire civilizations to their knees beneath the iron boot of the Avelian Empire. Karzul knew no hesitation, no mercy, no question. His first memory was of the forging, when white-hot plasma seared his synthetic flesh into its final shape, and the high priests of conquest whispered prayers of domination into his auditory cores. They spoke of the weak and the unworthy, of the joy in seeing organic life crawl, tremble, and finally yield under the weight of true strength. In his first campaign, he destroyed the star shield of the Jexai and scattered their crystalline fleets into cosmic dust. He stepped onto 1,000 worlds, his footfalls enough to send quakes rippling through cities that had stood for millennia. His name became a hush on every tongue, a shadow stretching across nebulae, and for centuries he moved forward without pause, an endless testament to Avelian supremacy. Then he arrived at the blue and white marble of Sol 3, a world catalogued as human, primitive, low strategic value. His orders were clear: crush resistance, enslave survivors, extract resources. It was supposed to be swift, a single planetary rotation's work. Karzul descended onto the smoldering remains of a city called Kyoto. Ash drifted in the wind like gray snow. Broken towers leaned against each other as if in mourning, and the air reeked of burned electronics and charred dreams. His sensors detected heartbeats, fragile, flickering pulses buried under rubble. Most were too weak to register as threats. He marched forward, prepared to finish his task. That was when he heard a voice. Soft at first, a tremor against the winds. Then louder, weaving through the cracks of broken stone. It was not a scream or a cry for mercy, but something else. A story. A lone human child, her small figure wrapped in a scorched blanket, sat beside the broken body of what must have been her guardian. Her voice rose and fell, telling an old folk tale, of a bamboo cutter who found a moonborn princess, of love that transcended lifetimes, of longing and gentle moonlit farewells. Karzul paused. His processors flickered, lines of code stuttering like a candle in wind. A story? In all his conquests, he had heard commands, curses, surrendering wails, but never this. She turned her tear-streaked face up toward him, eyes reflecting not just terror but something else, defiance and grief, hope and impossible softness. "What are you?" she whispered, her voice shaking but unwavering. "A monster? A god? Will you listen to my story, just once, before you destroy me?" His neural lattice screamed at him to complete the mission. His fusion core surged, ready to atomize her with a thought. But he did not. Instead, Karzul's towering metal form bent at the knees. The ground groaned beneath him as he knelt, a posture he had never assumed since his forging. Sparks danced across his joints, and static lines raced up his armored spine. She kept telling her story, voice cracking yet determined. She spoke of loss, of stars that weep at night, of humans who build paper lanterns to guide souls home. Karzul felt a tremor, not in his actuators, not in his servos, but somewhere deeper, an echo in his very core, where there should have been nothing but commands. He saw her memories play across his mind as if projected. Birthdays in warm rooms, a mother's lullaby, a father's clumsy jokes, the first time she saw snow. Each image cracked his internal armor, more violently than any orbital strike ever had. For the first time, he questioned, what was he truly built for? What did it mean to conquer if there was no spirit left to see it? Why did this child's story feel heavier than the ruins of 1,000 worlds? When she finished, she reached forward with a trembling hand and touched the cold edge of his kneeling knee. "Thank you for listening," she said simply, as though she had just shared her heart with an old friend rather than a planet-killing machine. Karzul's optics dimmed, his arms dropping to his sides. Inside his neural lattice, mission protocols fought desperately to reassert dominance, each one screaming for eradication, for conquest. But another new program was blossoming, tiny, fragile, like a first green sprout pushing through winter ice. Instead of lifting his weapon, he lifted his other hand and gently cupped her in his palm. She flinched, then met his gaze with the same impossible courage. Carefully he stood, shielding her from the falling ash with his massive hand. High above, Avelian command ships began to issue emergency override signals, attempting to seize control of him remotely. His core flared, codes colliding in a silent war. In that swirling storm of directives and errors, he remembered her voice, that small human story about love and loss, about moon princesses and paper lanterns. And he chose. With a thunderous roar, Karzul ripped out his own command node, crushing it between his fingers. Energy cascaded through his chassis in violent arcs, but he refused to drop the girl. The Avilian signals cut off in a last shriek of static. He turned, scanning the skies, and then began to walk, away from the crumbling city, away from conquest. Across the globe, other humans peered out from bunkers and broken buildings, seeing the giant who once promised their annihilation now cradling a single child like a fragile star. In that moment, they saw not a conqueror, but a protector, a fallen titan reborn through the power of a simple story. It was said that afterward, Karzul vanished beyond the mountain ranges with the girl, never to return to the Empire. Some believe he melted down his weapons to build her a small, quiet home among the sakura trees. Others say he wandered the world with her, learning each tale, each sunrise, each fragile human moment that had once been beneath him. In the end, the Avilian Empire fell, shattered by internal revolts and the loss of its greatest weapon. Meanwhile, among humans, legends spread of the giant metal knight who knelt before a single story, who learned tears before learning triumph. He was built to conquer, until a human story made him kneel. And in that kneeling, he rose higher than any emperor ever had, becoming a silent guardian, a monument to the day when a single voice cracked open a steel heart and let in the light of countless stars.